Hi, I'm Veronica Wasik, and I help virtual bookkeeping pros to become confident professionals and business owners. In this video, I'm going to talk about the biggest pricing mistakes that I have made. One of the areas that I have struggled with the most in my virtual bookkeeping business is pricing. Pricing is not easy, and in fact, it evokes a lot of negative emotions like fear and anxiety. And I have certainly felt my share of fear and anxiety when pricing services for my clients. So I wanted to share with you the biggest pricing mistakes that I have made and the very valuable lessons that I have learned. Mistake number one, not having a signed engagement letter or service agreement with my client. So early on, I would just take on a client for whatever they needed. There would be no agreement between us as to what I was going to do or not do. And there was certainly no agreement as to what I was going to charge for my services. So unfortunately, I didn't get paid for some of my services early on because of that lack of clarity. Mistake number two, pricing by the hour. Pricing by the hour, while it may seem easy to do because it's just, an hourly rate times the number of hours that you work, unfortunately it can lead to not getting paid for your services or not getting paid for all of your services. I learned that when I was pricing by the hour, my clients were getting sticker shock and then they didn't want to pay. Or I was too embarrassed to charge them what I actually had done for the job, and so I would just charge less. Mistake number three, doing a project without getting paid first. I've taken on really big projects and didn't ask for any sort of deposit or advance. And unfortunately, the client got sticker shock at the end and then didn't want to pay for my services. Mistake number four, undercharging for my services. This is a very common mistake that most new bookkeepers do. And in fact, even sometimes it still happens to me after being in business for over a decade. There will be times when we didn't do such a good job of scoping out the project and we underestimated the effort that it would take to complete that project, and we'll end up undercharging for our services. And mistake number five, spending hours working on pricing spreadsheets, counting transactions, counting the number of accounts that bank accounts that clients have, and just way overthinking my pricing. So initially, I thought that the way to combat the fear and anxiety of pricing was to just come up with this big spreadsheet. Unfortunately, this led to just spending so much time on my pricing, and it added more and more anxiety to the whole process. So what did it cost? What was the cost of making all of these pricing mistakes? I've estimated that I have probably lost about $20,000 over the course of my business, but in the process, I learned some very valuable lessons that have more than made up for the $20,000 that I have lost in making pricing mistakes. First lesson I learned, let go of the mistakes. Let go of the negativity and focus instead on improving and learning. We are all going to make pricing mistakes. You are going to make pricing mistakes, and it's okay. It's part of being in business. Second lesson that I learned is to have a signed engagement letter for every project that I do from every client that I work with. If I don't have a signed engagement letter, then I don't do the work. By having an engagement letter, that has allowed me to have a clear understanding with my client for what I will do and what I will not do. This leads me to the third lesson, and that is to get paid upfront. By getting paid upfront, now I know that I have a client who is willing and able to pay, and it also helped me with my cash flow so that I could have positive cash flow by getting paid up front. The fourth lesson was that I have continued to refine my pricing over time. As I said before, we have all made pricing mistakes. We're going to make pricing mistakes, and the most important thing is to then take those lessons and apply them to the next client. So if you didn't charge enough for a particular project for the client that you're working on now, when you take on the next client for that project, then you need to charge more. And the fifth lesson that I have learned, and that is to simplify my pricing, to not overthink pricing so much, to not spend hours and hours on spreadsheets, and ultimately working toward making things simpler for my own peace of mind. And I have found that it actually has worked really well when I don't overthink pricing as much. I seem to be able to focus on making better pricing decisions. Let me know in the comments what you have learned about pricing. Are there any lessons that you'd like to share with me? I'd love to hear from you. I'm Veronica Wasek. If this content is helping you, then subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and give me a thumbs up. And check the description below for all of my free resources, including my free Virtual Bookkeepers Toolbox, the link to join my Facebook community, and my online academy for virtual bookkeepers. I'll see you next time.